On this week's City Skylines 2 o'clock, the art to a good tutorial, Hotels and Retreats DLC, Industrial Evolution Content Creator Pack, Tip of the Week, and introducing this week's very special guest, Cities by Diana.
Hello.
Hello. Well, nobody here on this channel has ever seen you or heard of you before, I'm sure, apart from all of those that already subscribed to you. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how it's going over on your channel?
Yeah, so I started the channel back in July of last year. I originally was doing like a sort of Let's Play style, and then I started doing more heavily edited, like story-driven type videos, and then I mixed in some tutorials here and there, and it's grown quite a bit in the past, 9-10 months. I think I'm at almost 8,000 subscribers as of today. And I also do TikTok too, so I'm way bigger on TikTok and post on there every day, same kind of stuff.
I guess the it's the hair, isn't it? It's the big TikTok winner, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, so the current hair colour is what, still purple?
Still purple.
Lovely. So anyway, how long have you been playing City Skylines?
Since about the end of 2020, so almost 3 years.
Wow, and you are good already. It's sickening to someone like me that's been around since very early on, and I struggle. And then you come along and just make it look so easy. It's impressive. Well done.
Well, I grew up playing SimCity, so I had somewhat of a head start there. But I try. I did a lot during lockdown and stuff when nobody could do anything, so I got a lot of time in playing the game.
Right. Well, speaking of tutorials, I mean, I'm going to say it, because you can't say it yourself. Yours are spectacular. And I've done quite a few tutorials as myself. Let's, what do you think makes a really good City Skylines tutorial?
I think what makes a good tutorial is that it is straight to the point. It is engaging and fun. It covers the things that most people would have questions about. And it ignores some of the less necessary things or puts it in another part. Not that you should ignore certain parts of a tutorial, but it focuses on the matter at hand. For example, if you're doing a tutorial that's like, how to make a beginner's interchange, you may not need to include stuff in there that's more complex. Like, let's do intersection marking tool. Let's do lane mathematics. Let's do traffic manager. Sometimes people just want to see, let's build this. Yeah. And I think that that's the best thing, is like knowing your audience, like knowing who the tutorial is for and the steps involved, and just laying that out in the most succinct, easy to understand way.
I think that sums it up really, really well. I mean, I've got it down to 3 bullet points at my end. I've written, where are we? To isolate the problem. If you're going to do a tutorial, it's causing somebody a problem. Then my classic was with the Terraform mod tutorial. People could use the Terraform tool, but there was one tool in the Terraform toolkit that confused everybody, and I figured, right, well, if I can show people how to use that and make a big feature of that, cover all the other tools, but make sure that that is well and truly covered. And so yeah, there was that. So isolate the problem, figure out what it is that people are stuck with, and then give a step-by-step solution for it. So I think we use a very similar, but yeah, yours is very punchy. You've got a very punchy style.
Thank you. I just, where that came from was, I used to do like my first 4 videos were just like an hour long unedited Let's Play. And I looked at my analytics and I was like, people are only watching 9 minutes of this. What if I just made the video 9 minutes?
Indeed, yes. If you can get them to watch the 9 minutes though, if you make a 9-minute video and they start watching only 2.
It's true. A 9-minute video, I'll see people watch 4 minutes, and I'm like, hey, that's good enough. But what that really means is that half the people watch nothing, and the rest of it watch the entire thing.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah. Somebody pointed out to me once, of course, it might be some people that are watching the whole thing and then going back and watching maybe 2 minutes, or
exactly,
or just checking in for the comments, and because they're checking the comments and there's no comment to read. So yeah, you never know. It's the algorithm's a crazy thing. And also your thumbnails. Do you do your own thumbnails?
I do.
Well, they're good.
Thank you.
Oh, you've definitely got it cracked. Your thumbnail. I'll have to pay you to do my thumbnails, I think. I need some help. That's definitely something I'm not very strong on. But anyway, that's enough about us. And let's talk all this YouTube waffle. Let's talk about Cities Skylines. We have some new DLCs coming. Now, last week I chatted with This Old Gamer, and we talked about Prosper and the work that was coming from him with the Brooklyn and Queens and Brooklyn and Queens. I think this week, let's just talk about the Hotels and Retreats mini expansion. Now, I'm going to be running the in silent mode the trailer on the Cities Skylines channel with Toadie. If you haven't seen it, I'll link that in the description down below if you want to go and watch the full trailer without us waffling over it. But have you had a look at the trailer for that yet?
I have. So I saw the first trailer that came out. With the like that narrator that sounded like what was that show, like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? I think. Like,
we don't think we had that over here, but yes, I imagine that would, yeah.
It sounded like it was from when I was very young, maybe even before I was born. But yeah, I saw that one. It was very cute. It was very well done. It was like it told a story. It was very well edited. And I was very happy to see that. And I watched Toadie's video too, which was just like very good. It was like on the Cities Skylines channel. It was like very well explaining the whole thing and how the DLC works. I do think that the DLC is really niche though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've described it as a mini expansion. So it's not really a full fleshed out DLC. That said, although it's not fully fleshed out, I think there's enough in there to make it worthwhile considering.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, we all deal with tourists in the city, and I like the way that they've got these 4 categories, and how the categories, for those of you that are watching and you haven't got a clue what's going on with the hotels DLC, we've got a sightseeing category where the hotel needs to be near parks or unique buildings. We've got a shopping category where you need to be close to commercial buildings. A business category, which I think is inspired because the amount of business people that need to stay in a hotel overnight is huge. So that needs to be near an office district. And then there's a nature one, which a little bit in this confuses me. So the nature category where you need to be near shorelines or forests or great views, it says in the trailer. How does the game work out what a great view is? I mean, have you got any idea on that?
I don't know. I think it's going to have something to do with attractiveness, like land value, or maybe there's some new mechanic in there that we don't know yet that's kind of measuring it.
Yeah, I think you might be on the point there with the land value, because obviously that will tie in with the parks as well. Also for the nature, you need to have no noise pollution. It benefits from good public transport and doesn't benefit from crime and pollution. So but yeah, I like the whole idea of the tweaking the prices as you try and upgrade your hotels. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the hotel models are like as well. We got a fleeting glance at some of them, but I think it's going to add something to the game.
I do too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think, like you said, it's a small expansion, so it'll definitely be worth it because it looks like for that mini expansion, there's a ton of stuff there. And I personally want to try it out. Like, I think it's going to be a cute, fun thing. Especially, I can imagine like putting one of those big hotels next to like a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And having the tourists there, and like you said, business travelers. Like it's a very cute mechanic. But I do feel like it's kind of like airports where it's like, if you really want to do that, it's super worth it. But if you don't care, it's kind of like, okay, nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, we've got, because you work your way up from the small little motel style hotels, all the way up to your 5-star rated hotels, and it's something that you have to do progressively. So it is definitely going to suit for a vanilla or base game style player. So I think that's definitely something that can add a bit more interest to the players that are just getting into a routine, not the ones that just like to use, go in with the mods and with all the anarchies, and just those base game style players that are running out of things to do. It's going to add something for them. We'll be coming with 5 new parks and 5 new maps. So it looks like I'm going to be busy doing a map review show for another DLC before the new game comes out.
Yeah, the things that it comes with is really good too. Like, even as somebody who does a lot of that, like modding with the anarchy and move it and placing buildings, like I almost always will use stuff from those DLCs in those modded builds, because they do still add models and mechanics that I don't have access to. It's definitely better, like you said, for the vanilla players, but overall, like, more content is good.
You're not wrong. I'm just very sad actually with this one, because this is one of the. There have been a number of DLCs over the years that I've had very little interest in. I've bought because I want to support the game, or I've needed to review the maps and I've needed the DLC for it. So things like Campus, I was thinking, meh. It does absolutely nothing for me. I understand industries, but everybody has their own take. I still think one of the best DLCs was the After Dark, the very, very first one.
Yeah, that one was great.
Yeah, it just added new specializations that it just showed that there was room to it. But now we get this. We get the Hotels and Retreats mini expansion coming out, and it's almost too late to use it before the new game comes out, on the assumption we've only got a few months left. So if you're building a new city with the idea of using, if you're one of these players that wants to take your time over building the city rather than speed building, it just seems seems a bit late for me. But I like to moan about anything and everything. You should know. If you've seen the channel, I like to have a gripe.
I do to an extent, but I'd like to keep my gripes limited, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, of course.
I always like to throw in something positive as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, where you can. I mean, I applaud, especially with the content creator packs where they are supporting the community. I mean, it might have been nice if they could have gone out to the community a little bit earlier, especially with the and I've said this 1,000 times. I know this is the map channel, but if they'd gone out to, I mean, I know we've been to Sanctum Gamer now and Sidai and said, hey guys, could you make us some maps? Well, with the amount of free maps that we've had given to us in the DLCs, so many of them have been subpar. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry, but your maps have been subpar. And if they come to the community and just asked even some of the middle level map makers, or a selection, just could you make me one each? A lot of the map makers out there would have happily made a map for free, for it to be given away as part of a DLC, just to be involved. But of course. Yeah. But I would say I think with Cities Skylines 2 coming along now, and they know their community now, they know how passionate a lot of us are about the game, and hopefully they'll just reach out a little bit earlier rather than leaving it nearly a decade down the line. There we go. But yes, speaking of content creator packs, anyway, we spoke about the Brooklyn and Queens last week. Not going to go into a huge amount of detail this week on Industrial Evolution, which has been created by Avania, Samantha Woods, much loved. But I'm not going to... last week we showed Prosper's buildings. We all know Avania's buildings. I just want to talk about, have you seen the footage of the buildings
For the Industrial Evolution?
Yeah.
They look phenomenal.
They do.
I think I think that it's sorry, you can edit those little bits out.
No, they can stay in.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I think that it's a big improvement over the actual default base game assets. And I have a story to tell about that.
Please do.
Sometimes I'm building and playing, and I like to hand place, and I have all these custom industrial buildings. And the building themes mod broke, so I hand place everything now in my modded cities.
Yeah.
And sometimes I forget to set place all as historical in my Rico settings or in my district settings, and they'll level up as soon as I place them to this ugly cartoon-looking factory. And after I spent, an hour placing this beautifully like hand-designed industry area with these like garages and warehouses, and then 3 of them turn into these rocket ship launchers and factories that look like they're from The Simpsons. I'm just like, what happened to all my buildings? This looks like crap. I didn't put these here. So having some new vanilla buildings to work with, even just when I do vanilla, excellent. Just great. Much needed, has been needed forever.
Yeah. I've got to say, I agree with you, but I also, in a bizarre kind of way, I mean, this is going to sound so contradictory. I agree with you, and I also don't agree with you. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I get the argument, but looking at the models that she's made, I think they would work really well in conjunction with those somewhat cartoony Cities Skylines base game models. Had a look, because we've got historic brick smokestack styles, and looking at the style of the smokestacks that she's put out there, it would definitely work in my industrial zone in my last build, and it wouldn't look out of place alongside the assets. I would definitely want to use them ahead of the ones that were vanilla based game. Oh, sirens to the BonBonBingo players! All the way from the United States of America.
There was an ambulance driving by.
Wow. That's a first. Definitely a first for this channel. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, then we have the modern light industry and also the contemporary modern industry. And like I say, I think I get where you're coming from with they are an improvement. They really are an improvement. But I think they would work alongside without looking completely out of place.
You make a great point. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about that, but it's a great point because it's sort of that in between, like the ugly vanilla style, which I've done a whole video about how that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
And the more like realistic, serious style. It's like the perfect in between that can kind of bridge that gap. Yeah, so I think you're right. They would go well with those.
Because there's a complete step up to the industry's DLC assets, which is next level.
Yeah.
And I feel that these work really well as part of a generic industry's zoning. And
yes.
She's just done a great job. I don't know why we're expecting her not to do a great job. She's such a great creator and has been for so long. So anyway, Sam, if you're watching this, thank you so much. Keep up the good work. We love you. Well, some of us do. We all do that.
I love her assets too. Yeah. Everything's always
so
good.
She's so good. Right, okay, so we're getting up towards the little section I like to call Tip of the Week. I'm going to let you go first, and hopefully you won't use the very same tip that I've got penciled in, because if you do, then it's going to be a very dull end to the show. But carry on.
Okay. My tip of the week, and I just did this in my last video, is if you're not using mods and you want to create a retaining wall without mods, what you can do is you can actually dig out the terrain very slightly and use either the sewage outlet, or if you have natural disasters, the water outlet, and fill it with water and create a shoreline. And then you can put a key wall along the slope and then level it out and the water will go away. And you have an actual retaining wall with no mods. It is the coolest freaking thing.
That is genius, and I love it. and if I can find time to build it and include the footage, I'll do that. If not, I might secretly sneak a little bit of footage from yours. Of course, we'll link directly across to that in the description if you want to see the whole video, everybody. Right.
I will send you the footage.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Right. So there's that. Now, my tip of the week, and again, I want to keep this vanilla. I'm sure as we go through this series, we'll get into more modding and that kind of thing. But, you know, when you've got a highway and the electricity doesn't want to jump across the highway, and you don't want to use power lines across the highway because they're ugly. Simple answer, water tower. Pop a water tower in the middle. It doesn't need to be connected up with anything. It can sit there in the middle. You can connect it up with the pipes underground. It's not unusual to see, certainly in America, water towers in the middle of roundabouts, that kind of thing. So I think it would work really well, and it certainly helps to, say, jump the electricity just when it's just slightly out of reach in the middle of a highway.
Yes, I think that is a great tip.
Yeah.
I have never thought of that.
There may be other assets, but that's the one that I think just makes most sense. Anyways, so as we are winding down in towards the last minute of the show, give you a chance to give your channel a plug.
Yeah, so I am on YouTube, Cities by Diana. I'm also on TikTok at Cities by Diana. I post almost every day on TikTok. I post twice a week on YouTube, and I'm also on Instagram under the same name, Cities by Diana. And I post on Instagram quite a bit too. So I'm on those 3 platforms, and I would very much appreciate the like and subscribe.
So that is, let me get this right, that's Diana by Cities, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Super. Well, it's been an absolute blessing having you on the show today. Hopefully you can come back in maybe a week or 2 or 3's time when we get fed up with this old gamer again.
Yeah. Is this little gamer back? That's amazing. I haven't seen any videos from him in a while. Yeah, and I used to love his Suburbs series.
Yeah, well, I'll give him a prod for you. Anyway, we need to go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.